Welcome to our kitchen. Today we prepare medieval macaroni siciliani from Maestro Martino's Libro de Arte Culinaria, a cookbook from the 15th century. We start with ingredients. We need flour, cheese, eggs, butter, rose water and spices, black pepper, cloves and cinnamon. We need the flour with salt, egg whites, a bit of rose water and warm water. We used 2 egg whites for about 350 grams of flour and enough water to obtain a rather hard dough. Maccheroni or macaroni in the Middle Ages is a term that refers to different types of pasta, both long and short, and many preparations still survive in the culinary traditions of southern Italy, called by the same names. Medieval macaroni are usually cooked in broth, but also in milk or water in the lean days, and seasoned with spices and cheese. We find them also mentioned in literary sources written in the 14th century. In Giovanni Boccaccio's Decameron they are cooked in capon broth, with ravioli and rolled down a mountain of Parmigiano for the enjoyment of those below. Whereas in Franco Sacchetti's 300 Novelle they are eaten with a fork. Another tool for eating pasta is mentioned in the Liber de Cucina, which is a wooden stick used for lasagna. We let the dough rest for half an hour. Meanwhile, we grate the cheese and grind the spices. We used Parmigiano for the macaroni, one of the most popular cheeses in the Middle Ages, as we read in the Decameron as well as in Pantaleone of Confienzan's Summa Lacticinorum. It is a perfect pairing with pasta, and has been used for this purpose since the Middle Ages. If you prefer, you can use another cheese, such as pecorino. The spices for this recipe must be sweet according to Maestro Martino. In addition to those we used, you can choose others such as fresh or dried ginger, nutmeg and saffron. Saffron can also be added to the dough. In another passage of this cookbook we read that pasta dishes must be colored with saffron, but it is unclear whether this refers to all pasta dishes or only to those mentioned in the paragraph. If you want, you can add ground saffron soaked in water to the dough, and then proceed as we did. We shape the macaroni using a metal wire 3 mm thick. We place the wire on a small piece of dough. We press it a little, then we roll it with our hands. Remove the wire and stretch the macaroni a little. It's important that the dough is hard enough so that it doesn't stick to the wire, even without adding flour while you're shaping the macaroni. We have used superfine common wheat flour for this recipe, which according to Pliny and Galen has been the most popular flour for making pasta and bread since the antiquity. It is still used today in Italy to make most types of fresh pasta, though traditionally maccheroni siciliani al ferretto, which are very similar to Maestro Martino's macaroni, are now typically made with durum wheat flour. Whereas the medieval preparation requires rose water and egg whites, the modern version is usually made with just flour and water, then dressed with meat sauce, which is one of the most common sauces for homemade pasta. According to the author, rose water is optional. If you prefer, you can use plain water, although rose water gives this dish its typical medieval flavor, with its floral and intense note. In any case, don't add too much, so that it doesn't overpower the other flavors. To learn more about pasta throughout history, read our new book, Early Italian Recipes, Cereals, Bread, Pasta and Pies. available on Amazon in English and Italian, in ebook and print editions. The book contains 114 recipes from the antiquity to the end of the Renaissance, accompanied by an introduction to the history of cereals in Italy throughout the analysis of primary sources on cuisine and dietetics, with an explanation of the basic preparations and ingredients used in the recipes. This book is the second in the series Early Italian Recipes, the first being dedicated to vegetables, fruit, herbs and flowers in historical cooking. We cook the macaroni in salted broth for about 10 minutes. Then we drain them and serve them with melted butter, parmigiano and spices. To know more about medieval cooking, check out our books Libro della Cucina, Medieval Tuscan Recipes, and Registrum Cuquine, a Medieval Cookbook. Check out our Patreon page for articles on historical food and other translations of sources, such as Maestro Martino's Libro de Arte Cucinaria. To support our work, you can also buy us a beer and purchase our merchandise. You find all the links in the description below, along with a list of our books on historical cooking. These macaroni siciliani were delicious, fragrant with spices, butter and cheese, excellent not only for a medieval banquet, but also for a very traditional Italian meal, accompanied by a meat second course, a salad and wine. A perfect dish to experience the history behind an Italian tradition of pasta making that began in the Middle Ages and has continued uninterrupted until today. If you're interested in ancient foods and flavors, subscribe our channel and consider supporting us on Patreon.